Okay. So the next part of this is going into the who, choosing the who of who you're going to attract. Now, understanding that we have, let's hypothetically say, like, your zone of genius. It's what you're really good at, what you love to do. You've determined what's your zone of genius. Then the question becomes is, okay, if we could only get paid for doing our zone of genius service for someone, who is that person? Who is that ideal? We've heard ideal customer. I call it premium prospect. But what we want to get to is, what are their characteristics? Again, this is more of an internal look in versus the geographic, demographic, psychographic attributes. We want to focus on what are the things, the characteristics of that client. Again, there's going to be another spreadsheet in there of, I did this, and I highly recommend you do it too, is doing like, well, what are the must-have attributes? Okay. So I'm kind of woo. I talk about woo stuff. And so the clients that I attract are kind of woo. They're coachable. They're not complainers. So they're not going to drive by and like put their shit out and just be whiny, complaining. That's not who I attract. So I went through this exercise of like, okay, these are the things they must have. They must operate with integrity. They must not be just takers. Like they have to have like they have to be heart-centered. So miraculously, when you start to document who you want to attract, like the must-haves, it miraculously happens. There's something really powerful by doing this. And then there's other things like the nice to have, right? The other attributes, like if they have a network, that's always great, those kind of things. And then the hard hell no's are people like, again, whiny, complaining, like, no, thank you, this is not for you. Or poverty minded, like severe poverty mentality. Sorry, that's not for you, because I cannot help somebody who is in that space. You know what I mean? So this is where really understanding this, your internal wants for your premium prospect is really important. And the question is, if you've never done this, I highly recommend doing it, because there's a lot of power in doing that. Okay, so then when you focus on your premium prospects, you want to go to their wants and desires. Okay, this is super, super important. And I'll talk more about this in general, is like, what is it that they deeply want? Because if you've ever pitched a thing, a product or service, and somebody didn't buy it, nobody bought it, it could be a lot of reasons, but a lot of times it's because they didn't want it. It's as simple as that, because it's not fulfilling on a deep want that they have, right? And so when you ask yourself, what is it that they deeply want? Is it an outcome? Is it a specific result? And so one of the tips is that, and I just was having a conversation with somebody today about this whole thing, like, you want to focus on what they want, because that's more intriguing to the person on the receiving end. So even though I know people who have poverty mentality are never going to get ahead in their entrepreneur career, what they really need is some like personal development. They don't want it, right? But they need it. So what I do is I go about it in a roundabout way. Okay, here's what you want. Okay, so I'm going to help you with what you want, but then I'm going to give you what you really need. So that's a tip there for you, is just, even though you as the expert, you know what they need, you're better off focusing on what they want, because wants are more compelling to your premium prospect versus the needs. Okay. And then regarding that, also doing a deep dive of what are their beliefs about current products in the marketplace? What are their insecurities, their internal perspectives, their excuses, their reasons from an identity level? So doing all this type of work is the work that is important, so that you can help them to take them from pain to gain, because entrepreneurs are in the business of providing solutions. And when you have a solution and it's really clear and solid, well, then that's going to help them to see like, oh, this is what I've been missing, right? And so your unique process are the stepping stones that are going to take them from the pain to the gain. And that's what you want to focus on. Okay, that's what you want to focus on. And so the reason that you're doing this is because your premium prospects don't want more products. Nobody needs an additional ebook or course or training. What they want are results. What they want are outcomes. Okay, so really getting an understanding of that is only possible when you do market research. I know people who who work with me, I'm probably one of the only people that are like bullish on this. Like, you have to do the market research. You have to, because otherwise, how are you going to know? And so, of course, I added a little bit of of a worksheet for you here as well. And what you're going to be doing is really diving into the internal characteristics that you're looking for, like I mentioned, but it's also going to have like a mini market research guide to really understand in the voice of your premium prospect, what is it that they're looking for, that they're missing, that they want. Remember, we're focusing on wants, not what they need. And so things that you can do to get there is check on Amazon. There's reviews on Amazon, go to Facebook groups, you can do blogs, your competitor pages, doing that research. And I would have it in a worksheet. And again, I have that, it'll be included. But if you just start doing this process of identifying the problems they're having and what is it that they crave or what is it that they wish for, and what other things have they tried? This is a mini market research that you can do to get started. And I promise you, doing that and having this as a go-to is going to be really, really helpful for you so that you're speaking to them directly with what they want. And most of your competition is not doing this. I promise you they're not. And when you do this, you'll be far and away ahead. Okay. So let me give you an example. Amazon is a resource that, quite simply, even if you wanted to take the easy route, is just by putting as an example keto diet. When I do a drop down, you can see the things that are popular, right? Keto diet cookbook, keto diet, I found really interesting for women over 50. Like, these are popular topics that people are searching for, right? And so one of the things that I do, I'm like, okay, let me look at one of the top selling keto books, right, in this example. And as you can see here, this one has 7,300 people that rated this book. Okay, lots of great intel in the voice of your premium prospect. If you were a keto coach or if you were putting together a keto diet book or something like that, there's a ton of intel that you can get here. So one of the things you can easily do is focus on the 1 to 3 star comments, the reviews that are the 1 to 3 star people. This is going to be a wealth of knowledge for you, because out of that, going through that, and again, take time to do it, it's not easy, and then take those clips and put it into that spreadsheet that I'm going to share with you. Because here's just some examples. Like, these people have taken the time to say, wow, this book has fallen short of my expectation because this is not what I want, right? So they're going to tell you in your own words what they want. So like she said here, it would be nice to know if I can substitute with something else like cashew, coconut flour, and milk, right? So these are things like her interest is around like, well, I'm allergic to almonds. So those are the kind of things. Here's another example. I'm just looking for a list of foods and not his life story. Like, this person is like scouring the internet, buying things, looking for a list of foods for her keto plan. So the market's going to tell you exactly what they want by taking the time to do this kind of research. And again, if you want to keep it really simple, just go to something like Amazon and do a research on the products that are in your space, in your competitive space, and you'll get a wealth of knowledge. Now, when you do this research, when you clip these words in their own words, it's going to help you assess what people really want. You're also going to get content ideas that you can either do podcast episodes on, that you can do lead magnets or some kind of a freebie or something that you're charging for. You can do product or service creation. So for example, like that woman, I'm allergic to nuts. So keto for nut allergies, right? That's super niche. That's somebody that has a problem, that's looking for specifics. It also, grabbing in their own words, copywriting. Copywriting is so essential to connect with somebody at the level where they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, I'm so vibing with, I have to get it, right? So that kind of intel, a lot of times I just do this kind of research and I put my copy in the words of the person, in the words of these premium prospects. And it works like gold. So you can do so much just by doing this type of stuff. And the biggest compliment that you can ever get is when you've done the research and somebody tells you, oh my God, it's like you're in my head. Like, you so get me. And it's like, yeah, I don't so get it. I've been doing a lot of market research here. I know exactly what keeps you up at night or the things that you really want, right? So that's how you know you nailed it, when you have an intimate understanding of that premium prospect and the stuff going on in their head.